Hey, it's Val, and today I want to talk to you about lawyer stress. This is what we know. The statistics are grim, really grim. And the thing is that our law societies, our bar associations, they've been doing studies, and the studies come back over and over again, repeatedly stating that we have very stressful jobs and that mental health challenges, addiction issues, other stress related illnesses are rampant in the profession of being a lawyer, particularly divorce lawyers. And the thing is, for a lot of people, they just think, whoa, okay, that's just part of the job. It's just the way it is. We have stressful jobs, stressful lives, and that's what I signed up for when I became a lawyer, and that's just the way it is. So it's almost like everyone thinks, okay, it's a fait accompli. It's just the way it is. Well, I disagree. So what I'm going to share with you is ways that I think that you can combat lawyer stress, but not the way that you would think that you would combat lawyer stress. This isn't the typical normal advice that you would hear about how you beat lawyer stress. It is, well, a little bit unusual. And I'm going to save it to the very end to share with you what those particular ways are that I suggest that you combat stress. So, as I said, our law societies or bar associations are well attuned to the problems associated in the industry. That is, that so many lawyers are facing. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been stressed. We've all seen our colleagues stressed to the max. Now, the Law Society of British Columbia, where I'm a member, they have a task force, and they've indicated that, hey, we are going to work tirelessly to ensure that there is less of a stigma associated with mental health challenges, and we are going to bring into disciplinary proceedings the context of mental health. Now, what does that mean for the average lawyer on the street? So far, not very much. Now, of course, I'm picking on the Law Society of British Columbia because that is my governing bar. The point that I'm sharing that with you is because I can't rely on the Law Society of British Columbia or my governing body to combat the stress that I face, to combat those challenges. What we all have to do as members of this profession is take ownership about how we combat stress ourselves. Now, for most lawyers, the things that stress us out to the max, well, there's a bunch of them, right? So first of all is there's overwork. A lot of lawyers spend so much time at the office or not, maybe not even physically at the office, but working really, really long hours. As I record this, I spoke to a lawyer just the other day, and she indicated to me that, she was at her office by 7 in the morning and didn't leave until 7 at night. And so I wonder how stressed she is, A, and B, how much time does she have left for her own health, her own happiness, her own family? Probably not very much. And so long hours are often a big problem associated in our profession. Now, another source of lawyer stress has to do with, well, our clients. A lot of times we find that our clients seem to be over demanding. They want too much. They're not being realistic. Well, the thing is that if you have really difficult clients all the time and your clients are not a source of joy, perhaps it might be that you are unable or haven't yet managed your clients' expectations. One of the things that I tell my clients right from the very beginning of our very first meeting is I say, hey, you know what? As your lawyer, it is not my job to just do what you say. Follow your instructions blindly. My job as your lawyer is also to give you the bad news. So for example, if I have a client who doesn't want to pay a certain amount of support and doesn't think it's right, etc., but I know that it's going to be a dead loser of an application or a position to take, I tell my clients, I'm in better service to you to tell you the way it is rather than spending your hard-earned resources and causing you additional stress to fight an application or fight a position that isn't going to succeed. So next time you have a really demanding client, one that you want to just tear your hair out over, think about if there's anything you could have done in terms of managing that relationship to ensure that they aren't becoming or don't get the opportunity to become that super, super demanding client. Now, here's the other thing is that, well, I don't know about you, but I'm a divorce lawyer, and yet I don't even like conflict. I find conflict very, quite distressing and really uncomfortable. Well, the thing is that when we are divorce lawyers, when we're walking into any kind of a contested application or even a mediation, when you have two sides to a dispute and if people are getting separated, it tends to be in a dispute. Well, the thing is that there's going to be conflict there. And so that's another part of what causes us as lawyers to really, really suffer from stress. Another thing that really causes lawyer stress really has to do with being perfect, but also with deadlines. Now, there's nothing more stressful than missing an important deadline. Again, sure, I'm sure you have a diary system to ensure that you do not miss important deadlines. But again, when you think about lawyer stress and all the things that we have going on, well, that's just another one of them. So far, I've covered the fact that you're working long hours, the fact that you might not like conflict, the fact that you have deadlines, the fact that you want to be perfect. What about the overwhelm? That's another one that we often feel. Lawyers feel very stressed because of being overwhelmed. We have so much on the go, so much on our plates at any given moment that it can be very, very overwhelming. And that overwhelm can be a huge source of our stress. And of course, not to mention, there's the billing pressures. We want to make sure that we are paid reasonably for the work that we do. We don't want to be gouging our clients, but yet we also want to be making sure that we are pulling our weight if we're part of a firm, or we're meeting our expenses and earning a profitable living if we own our own law practice. And on top of all of that, of course, is the big fear that many lawyers have, and that is disciplinary proceedings. Lawyers are often worried about being reported to the Law Society. I've had disciplinary proceedings, and I found it very, very crushingly stressful. And so the thing is that that's often in the background because you're worried about hearing from the Law Society because a client or an opposing party or another lawyer has made a formal complaint against you. So you can see how lawyers are really stressed and how there's this tremendous burden that we often experience because of the profession we've chosen. And I know this all sounds very, very dark and heavy. And again, I have an answer for you, and it's coming up. So now, with all of that going on, most lawyers, what do they forget to do? Many lawyers, they forget about self-care. They don't have time to actually engage in any self-care whatsoever. So I don't know what self-care looks like for you, but for me, it's getting up early. It's doing my spiritual practice. It's walking in the woods. It's petting my dog. It's cooking in the kitchen. For me, those are the things that really charge me up. As I record this today, I yesterday went to a friend's house and we played cards and we just had a super fun time. And to me, that is self-care because we had a chance to laugh and be silly and just have a really good time. So the point is this, is that we've heard a lot about self-care and we've heard a lot about how, we should engage in that self-care. And you've heard, okay, so we're talking about lawyer stress. So what is the usual advice that you are supposed to follow in order to, combat it? Well, there's the usual. Oh, eat well. Eat healthier food, get more exercise, try yoga, do some stretching, consider meditating. Okay, let's be real. How many lawyers do you know meditate? How many lawyers do you know eat really well? How many lawyers do you know have a dedicated yoga practice? Yeah, not very many. The thing is that's all fine and good for people who have all the time in the world. But for lawyers, a lot of us, we're going, wait, who's got time for self-care? Like I am way too freaking busy and overwhelmed with all the things causing me stress. I don't have time for self-care. So it's easier said than done. And so that, my friend, is why I want to share with you how you combat lawyer stress. So now I'm going to share with you 9 ways that you can combat lawyer stress. And again, this isn't all about you navel gazing or suddenly finding all the time to have a meditation practice or changing everything about your life. What it is about the fact that no matter how much self-care, even if you did self-care, no matter how much self-care you exercised, no matter how much time you spent, how much time you meditated, how much time you hiked in the woods, no matter how much yoga you did, if you walk into a conflict-ridden, chaotic practice every single day, well, guess what's going to happen? All your techniques for getting rid of your stress are going to go out the window. The fact is that if you have a chaotic, disorganized, stressful practice, you're going to have a chaotic, disorganized, stressful life. So this is where you're going to want to start. The first thing you're going to do is you are going to have a dispute resolution focused practice. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's no mistake that what we see are the same lawyers all the time darkening the doors of our courtrooms, dragging their clients and their families through the court system when, hey, wait, might not have been better to be able to negotiate an agreement, to attend mediation so that you can get to an agreement without having a huge, massive fight? If you focus on dispute resolution, a lot of people call it alternative dispute resolution. I don't think there's anything alternative about it. The fact is that if you get trained to become a mediator yourself, even if you don't conduct mediations, having those dispute resolution skills will pay you dividends over and over and over again in terms of being able to conduct yourself in a less stressful way that benefits you and your clients. It also happens to turn your clients into raving fans. The second thing that you want to incorporate is you want to incorporate efficiencies wherever you can in your law practice. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had some pretty disaster mistakes happen in terms of, for example, doing a very long hearing and then at the end of the hearing, realizing I don't have my case law put together. Oh, hey, it's me. Interrupting a little bit because I want videos like this to reach more people. So if you are enjoying what you see, if you're finding it helpful, please hit the subscribe button, which is somewhere up there. And also tell me, what was the biggest takeaway you had with respect to this video? Leave it in the comments below and I will answer every comment, every question, because that's what I do. I was so focused on the facts of the case, I forgot to look at the law. I had an idea about the law, but I didn't have any case law to present the judge. The point is this, is that if you have checklists for things, anything that you do more than once in your office, have a checklist for it. In my office, we have checklists for client intake and workflows for that. We have checklists for hearings, four-way meetings, mediations, you name it. We have checklists for everything, even a short court application we have a checklist for. When you incorporate checklists, guess what that does? Well, it ensures that you have way less mistakes. In fact, when hospitals started incorporating checklists into their procedures, their operating procedures, mistakes happened way less of the time. And of course, patient morbidity, patient death went way down, patient infection went way down because people were following and people weren't relying on, geez, did I remember everything? There was a specific checklist followed so that there were less mistakes. Well, that applies to us as lawyers too. So you want to incorporate checklists, you want to incorporate workflows, you want to incorporate precedents. If you're writing the same kind of letter over and over and over again, guess what? You don't want to have to recreate that every single time. Have a precedent, a guide that you can go by, that you can use over and over again. So how that combats your lawyer's stress is, of course, going back to the whole self-care question, is that you are having a more and more organized practice, more streamlined, reducing the chaos and introducing the calm. When you have that calm approach to your practice, by the way, nobody could ever call me calm as a person. Like I come across as very high, strung, huge energy all the time. And this is me medicated with ADHD medicine. The fact is is that but I'm very organized. And when I have that organized approach, it inspires my clients' confidence. And that's what will happen with you when you have a very well organized practice using systems and precedents and checklists. The third thing that you want to do to combat your lawyer stress is you want to have a great marketing plan, one that doesn't take over your life, but that attracts the kind of client that you want to represent to your law practice. And so when you attract really great clients that are easy to deal with, that are pleasant to deal with, who appreciate the advice that you're giving them, that you resonate with, well, your clients become a source of joy. And of course, they become your raving fans. They are thrilled about you if you resonate with them. The fourth thing you want to do is you want to have really great software. Don't cheap out on like skipping over having great software. I'm amazed sometimes when I see lawyers do that. Some lawyers who don't even have Word, Microsoft Word, they use Notepad or something. It's crazy town. Fact is you want to have really great software. And of course, what flows from that is my next piece of information I'm giving to you is if you have really, really great software, make sure you optimize it to its best capability. No point in having really great software, really robust software, if you're only using a minuscule fraction of its power. The sixth thing that I want to share with you about how you reduce your lawyer stress is you use your time strategically. And I'm saying you want to take charge of your time. Now, I'm not talking about, having a big long list of things to do and just packing more stuff on the list and being, cutting corners so quickly so that you don't waste any time so you can get more done on your to-do list. Not at all. I'm talking about dividing your time in ways that make sense. So for example, a lot of our colleagues, what they do is they come to the office, they sit at their computer, they dive into their emails, and what ends up happening is they are reacting to their email list all day long, or reacting to their email inbox, all day long. And well, how is that even helpful? Because what happens is that they are at the mercy of whoever's written to them at any time. I mean, email's here to stay. I'm very sure of it. And we are going to continue to communicate that way with our clients and other colleagues and all of that. However, if you build a fence around the times that you answer your emails and you're not at its whim all the time, you will find that you have a much calmer and responsive approach to your law practice. So as I share this with you about taking charge of my time, I'll give you an example of what my typical week looks like. So I don't see my clients until 10 o'clock, Monday to Thursday. So that gives me time to get up, do my morning practice. Yeah, guess what? I do that self-care. I walk my dog in the woods most days before I get to the office. It just grounds me. And, even though I've been up for quite a few hours, by the time I get to the office, I am ready to go, grounded, feeling really good about things. And that's when I'm ready for my clients. I see my clients from 10 and then I take in the morning, and then I take my last client at 4, and that's Monday to Thursday. And on Fridays, I rarely do client work. And what I do on Fridays is I call that my buffer or bumper day. What I mean is those are the things that you need to look after so things don't crash. And what I mean is that, that's when I'm going to look at my trust reconciliation. That's going to be when I get someone to walk me through it, learning a new piece of software. It's going to be, where I run an errand, go to the bank, whatever those things that I must do to make the rest of my life and my law practice runs smoothly. Well, that is what I do on Fridays. And in fact, I actually, our whole team, my support staff, they take Fridays from noon on off every weekend. So that gives them time to look after some of the stuff in their personal lives in terms of moving forward in their lives and having it go smoothly for them as well. So think about your time and think about how you strategically create time so that you're doing different kinds of tasks in different blocks of time. Now, the seventh piece of advice I have for you is about turning your clients into raving fans every time. So the fact is that if you're attracting the kind of client you want to represent, they appreciate your expertise, and you have a law practice that's well organized, and you've inspired your clients' confidence, and you have taken charge of your time. So guess what? You're meeting your deadlines. You are ready for any kind of hearing, any kind of application. Well, your clients become your raving fans then. So you want to make sure, in order to reduce your lawyer stress, that you turn your clients into raving fans. The eighth thing you want to do is you want to expand your team. Now, I get it. Maybe you're a sole practitioner and you're thinking, oof, you know what? Like, I can't afford to take on a full-time person. If I do, I'll just be working to pay their salary and I won't have anything left for me. I totally get it. Well, what you might want to do is consider expanding your team little by little by little. So, at some point, it doesn't make sense that you're standing at the photocopier or that you're standing there as scanning a whole bunch of documents into the scanner on behalf of your clients. Perhaps your time and your hourly rate is better used doing the client work, doing the stuff that you're really, really good at. Many years ago, I remember I was in my professional legal training course, and one of the lawyers who presented to our program said, "Don't steal your legal assistant's work." And I thought, then that really resonated for me, and I hope that resonates for you too. So the fact is you want to expand your team so that you can get help in little bits and pieces in your life and your law practice. Now, that expansion of your team, it doesn't just have to be at the office. It could be even in your home life. For example, maybe you have a house cleaner, or maybe you have somebody come and mow your lawn for you, or maybe you have someone do your recycling for you, or maybe you have someone do your Costco runs for you. Well, the thing is that you can end up saving a huge amount of time, which gives you the energy to be able to look after yourself, have your practice run well, and guess what? Reduce your lawyer stress. Now, related to that, this is my absolute favorite life-changing strategy for reducing lawyer stress. And what is that? Well, it's the concept of who, not how. What do I mean by that? Okay, for example, I really believe in having great software and believe in maximizing it. So my firm, we use Clio. Clio software is amazing, and it's just so good. But the thing is, I had it for a couple of years, but I knew I hadn't maximized it. Sure, it was great for keeping our client matters in order, entering our time entries, and we could also, keep our contacts up to date. But I was really certain we were not using it to its full potential. But the thing is that whenever I looked in the Clio training library, there was something like 8 or 10 hours of videos that I was to watch to understand all the great things Clio could do. Well, guess what? Do you know how long went by before I watched any of those videos? Yeah, a really long time. I had lots of false starts. It was on my list of things to do for over 2 years. Finally, it occurred to me, wait, let's do a who, not a how. So the who, not how concept is created or designed or comes from a book I read called Who, Not How. And it's written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan is one of the co-owners of Strategic Coach. And Dan Sullivan has been coaching very successful entrepreneurs for over 40 years. What people often do is, and particularly lawyers, is we try, when we are wanting to learn a new skill, we often try to figure it out ourselves. Well, that it can end up being a huge time waster because that's not my zone of genius. Figuring out software, oh my gosh, that is not my zone of genius. Sitting there watching 8 or 10 hours of videos, that is not my zone of genius. But what is my zone of genius is practicing law. So what we did is we got a who. It took us a couple tries. We interviewed a couple of different consultants. We hired a Clio consultant, and we maximized our software. Maximizing our software has had a huge impact on our bottom line in terms of making us more profitable, needing less staff to be able to do great client service. So Another example of a who, not how is a lot of lawyers I know, they go, yeah, you know what? I've invested in this website and I've really got to get around to building the website. And oh yeah, it's taking a lot of time. And then another year goes by and they still haven't done their website, or their website looks like garbage. And remember, that is the front door of your business these days. So the point is this, is that perhaps maybe if you want to have a website and you want it to be working really, really well, maybe the place to start is not with you building the website. Maybe the place to start is finding a great who, not a how. So what you do is you find someone whose zone of genius can help you in what you need, and as opposed to you figuring out how to do something. Think about really successful entrepreneurs in the world. What they do is they have lots of who's on their team. So they're not having to figure out absolutely every little piece of everything that they do in their lives. So this is Val, and here I've been sharing with you, well, what I really want you to know about lawyer stress and what you can do to combat it. Remember, no amount of self-care, no amount of yoga, meditation, prayer, spiritual practice, Pilates, stretching is going to help if your law practice in life is in a state of chaos. And if you take the time to work on your business, on your law practice, so that you can strategize and put systems in place that will make things run smoother, wow, the impact is huge. This is Val. Much, much love. If you found this video helpful, and I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. Because if you do that, then this video will be able to reach more people. And as well, if you want to stay in closer touch with me, please ring the little bell icon so that you can subscribe to this channel. This is Val. Much, much love.